welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. 500,000 signatures calling for the traditional definition of marriage to remain unchanged have been handed in to 10 Downing Street and the Home Office. The signatures are part of an ongoing petition organised by the Coalition for Marriage and submitted as part of the Home Office consultation on marriage which closed this week. Pete Wooding reports.
A petition of 500,000 people who opposed the redefinition of marriage was handed into the Home Office. A copy of the same petition was also presented at Downing Street by a newly married couple, along with campaigners and MPs. Reece and Esther Curnow married in March, and they signed the petition organised by the Coalition for Marriage. The government is currently consulting on whether to redefine marriage to introduce same-sex marriage, but critics say it will alter the meaning of marriage. Don Horrocks of the Coalition for Marriage.
The greatest concerns are that marriage itself will be hugely undermined and society's building blocks will be weakened and reduced to the extent that what we know about marriage and family it becomes just a historical memory.
MP for Congleton Fiona Bruce says they hope the petition will cause the government to drop the proposal.
There are clearly very many people right across the country who are saying to the government, think again about your proposals to change the definition of marriage. Let's keep it as it always has been, a relationship between one man and one woman, aspirationally for life.
The Daily Mail has also been encouraging David Cameron to reverse his plans to redefine marriage, saying the Prime Minister hasn't thought through the implications. An editorial commented, "What the Prime Minister failed to consider was the truly momentous legal, constitutional and religious significance of tinkering with the meaning of the word marriage to embrace homosexuals." Meanwhile, the Church of England has told the government that if same-sex marriage is legalised, it could trigger a constitutional crisis and end the 500-year link between church and state. It has described the plans as divisive, legally flawed and essentially ideological. The Church also dismissed government assurances on religious liberty, warning that human rights legislation could be used to force churches to conduct same-sex weddings. The British Medical Journal is calling on doctors' organisations to stop opposing assisted suicide. The comments made by BMJ Editor-in-Chief Fiona Godley backs calls for reform from pro-euthanasia group Healthcare Professionals for Assisted Dying. They want Royal Medical Colleges and the British Medical Association to shift their stance from opposing assisted suicide to a position of neutrality. But Director of the Care Not Killing Alliance Dr Peter Saunders said, "This is a carefully orchestrated move by a small minority of doctors with extreme views aimed at softening up public and parliamentary opinion," adding that any change in the law would place pressure on vulnerable, sick, elderly and disabled people to end their lives for fear of being a financial or emotional burden on loved ones. A law intended to protect citizens from harassment is curbing free speech and needs to be changed, according to Guardian columnist Timothy Garton Ash. Mr Garton Ash has criticised the Public Order Act 1986, noting numerous cases of people, including Christian street preachers, who have fallen foul of Section 5 of the Act. He said, "A law that aspires to prevent harassment has become a licence for the harassment of ordinary citizens by the police." Pressure Group Reform Section 5 has already called for the law to be changed to protect free speech and is campaigning to have the word insulting removed from the Public Order Act. Currently, the law outlaws insulting words or behaviour, but what exactly constitutes insulting is unclear. Mr Garton Ash says that fixing the problem is not a party political issue, it is about freedom, and it is about what it means to be British. A former Lads Mag editor has spoken of his shame for defending the publication which he now believes encouraged young men to access hardcore pornography. Martin Daubney, who edited Loaded magazine for 8 years, said becoming a father and turning 40 radically changed the way he looked at things. He commented, "I started seeing the women in my magazine not as sexual objects but as somebody's daughter." Reflecting on his time at the magazine, Mr Daubney said, "We were normalising soft porn, and in so doing we must have made it more acceptable for young men to dive into the murky waters of harder stuff on the internet, and for that I have a haunting sense of regret." And finally, West Indian cricket hero Tino has given thanks to Jesus following his record-breaking score at last week's Test match. He scored 95 runs, which is the highest ever by a number 11 batsman in Test match history. Tino, who also uses Twitter to pass on Bible verses, made his remarks in a radio interview with the BBC's cricket correspondent Jonathan Agnew.
You were ecstatic when you got to your 50. I can't imagine what you'd been like if you got to your 100.
Yeah, just give thanks and praise. I would have been, over the moon to play against the world number one, and to do well and to perform and to, to stand out is always good. God is good.
Test cricket's been played since 1877, Tino.
Yeah.
And you got the highest number 11 score.
Yeah, so, praises be to Jesus Christ, just thankful, just praises,
Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.